So Jason must have a fancy microphone. That's why you don't have a headset.
No, I don't use a microphone. I have a MacBook.
He doesn't even have
See,
a microphone. He just yells. We just hear
really?
him.
Yep, no microphone. Too lazy, too cheap. But if anybody's watching this, we're going to start off with a little quite quick intro on HTTPS and SSL and how to decide what you're going to use and what it does and all that stuff. Um, we got with me today Gerard and Jamie. If you guys would like to introduce yourselves.
Go, Jamie.
Hi, I'm Jamie. I work for Headway Themes.
I am Gerard. I don't work for Headway Teams, but I do all sorts of other stuff, including stuff with Headway Teams. And yeah, that's me.
You don't work with Headway Themes, Gerard?
No, I do. That's what I just said. I don't work for Headway Teams,
Are
but
you
I
sure you
work
don't work
with
for?
them.
Because I'm pretty sure you blast me with stuff about it all the time.
I might, maybe.
All right. I'm going to do a quick screen share here and see where we start off. So, can you see that, Jamie?
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to lock onto my screen so I can share this stuff. Um,
I'm typing it down for use later.
nice. So basically what it starts off with, I know there was another video, and maybe we can drop this in the show notes later on, but another video that we watched that kind of went into this, about this, how the your website does a little handshake with the server, or with the end user's computer. And basically what this results in is two keys. So one here is the top one that you can see on this screen is the private key. As you can see, begin RSA private key, and this is the one that needs to remain secret. Obviously this one's not any good, but I'll try to share this page as well with you guys and throw it in the notes real quick. But that's used to decrypt a message. So this other one here, the bottom one, and this one says begin certificate. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that this is the public key because there's another certificate section on here as well. So this code is thrown into the algorithm, a mathematical algorithm that completely encrypts all your data from the computer. So once your computer reaches that HTTPS SSL secured website the first time, that website will send your computer this public key. The public key, everybody can have access to it. It's not a problem. Then once it's encrypted, your computer will use this key to use in the algorithm, whatever algorithm it's using, to encrypt the information, send it to the server, and then that information can only be decrypted with this private key. Am I making sense so far?
Yeah, well, I'm
Yep.
already familiar with it, but go on, yeah.
Yeah, you're here, Gerard, to catch me if I make a mistake on something.
Yeah. I haven't had to use much of this in a while, but I used to have to a lot, yeah.
Yeah, so basically this is what has been known as PGP, pretty good privacy forever, and it's used on email clients and all sorts of other stuff that everybody's too lazy to ever use.
Yep.
And that's how that section works. And then further down here, you'll see another certificate area. This is the certificate request, and I believe this is the part, don't hold me to this, that this is the part that sends out to confirm that certificate is good with the approving authorities.
Yeah, that's your signature when you're asking for a certificate, basically.
Right. Okay. So anyways, you receive this public key from the website. You encrypt all this information. It's sent back, but you cannot decrypt it with the same key. It needs this private key in order to decrypt it. So when we get into this about how long is the certificate good for and everything, if this private key is disclosed or compromised in any way, that certificate is complete garbage.
Yep.
And that will end that certificate's term, whether it's reached its final expiration date or not. Make sense so far, Jamie?
Yeah, and I think that's what you were talking about when you were talking about if it were to get compromised or whatever earlier. Does that make
Right.
sense? Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
That part right there is exactly what it is the piece that cannot be compromised, cannot be shared, and nobody needs to. If anybody else gets their hands on it, it's useless.
Yeah, and you want to keep a safe backup of it because it's your own key as well, right? So you want to usually make a copy and preserve it somewhere safe.
Gotcha.
We'll get to this in a second. So I went ahead, and we were also talking about how the various forms of identifying um, SSL on a website, and we were talking about the green bar and what that does and whatnot. So I wanted to show this. So one of the problems that will occur if you're throwing HTTPS on a new or on a pre-existing site is you can see here, check here, and you can see that both the permissions and the connections, everything looks good. And this is my business website. It's the only one I personally own that I've got secured at the moment. But here you can see that I've got the little everything's not okay block. And the only thing that this is it's saying here everything's good until it gets to this point. Further, this page includes other resources which is not secure. And that resource is just this image. I threw a I Support Happy Joe logo on here, and that's coming from the WP Roundtable website. I just brought it in here using via the link, basically. So this image is not secure, whereas everything else on the website you can tell is secure. So when you're doing this, I don't know if you've already done this part or not, but if you have this problem, a lot of times what it is the images did not transfer, the image links did not switch from HTTP to HTTPS, and you will get this notification that says nothing is secure, and you've got to go through and change all the either custom or find a plugin or some way to do it. Change all of the images, all of your media files to HTTPS from HTTP.
And visitors may get that pop-up saying, this page is not all secure.
Right.
Continue, yes, no. And you can scare some people off that way,
Right.
right?
So here's the other one. You can now this green bar is I think what you were talking about earlier, Jamie.
Yes. Yep.
So this green bar is nothing more than a marketing scheme.
Yeah.
And what it really does is it brings some continuity across the browsers because especially with Safari, who's really been making me angry lately, they've just got a little lock, and you have to click on it to find out if it's the good green lock or the broken lock, and other browsers have their own way of identifying whether things are good. So this green bar is really more than anything a marketing scam I shouldn't call it a scam, but a comfort zone thing.
Yeah.
To kind of
works, though.
Right. To kind of make it, but you don't need it. It doesn't make any difference as far as the security is concerned. It's just a way to comfort people a little bit so that they see green here, and all the browsers the same thing. One way or another, there'll be a big green line there. And so people who don't know what the difference between, this lock and this yellow lock are can feel comfortable, but it can also kind of mess with people.
Yeah, I think that at least as long as there's a lock, most people are probably going to click OK, but the big green splash is probably, oh yeah, right?
Yeah, it's just it's nothing more than, and you'll see it down here, it's nothing more than a trust indicator.
Yeah.
Got anything yet, Jamie?
I do, but I don't know if this is the right time to ask. Maybe you'll cover it later, so I'll hold on to it.
Okay, well, I was going to go into this next, and how to decide what you need. Do you want me to dig into that, or did you have a question about how it functions?
No, it's more, so my question is, how do you decide if you should do your whole site, or do you just do the page that would be processing the payment, or whatever? How do you make that decision, and does it make any sense to only do one page?
Can I?
Yeah, go for it.
Because finally, something I know. You have to, these days, Google rewards you if you do your whole site. So if you can afford it performance-wise, because this hits you a little for performance, but if you can afford it, go for it for the whole site and be done. Then you're always covered. You don't even have to worry about a thing. But yeah, it's rare. I find it rare nowadays that you end up only on a specific page and it shows it up. Like, you don't have to worry that much more about it anymore. You might as well just do the whole site.
That's kind of what I figured, so.
Yeah, I think the reason Google finally switched and said we're going to reward you for doing it was because we finally got to the point where internet speeds and such are that this no longer affects you very much. The only other circumstance where I might say don't is if you is if you are going to need to import material from another site, and I don't know why you wouldn't be able to, like, I can't really think of a reason right now why you wouldn't be able to just download it, put it on your server, and display it. But if for some reason you really needed to bring input in from another site, then you may want to avoid doing it just so that people aren't, because if you see that little orange triangle there, it's it gives you reason to caution, and if you don't know
It's
what
like a step down. Yeah.
yeah. So as long as all of your stuff is secured, you can get that, the good green bar across every page, then I'd say go for all of it.
Yeah.
But that would be my only caveat to that, and why I might say, okay, there's a reason we've got to import this stuff from another website, then I might just do the purchase page.
Yeah, but marketing-wise, though, for I don't know what this association that you're working with does or anything, but if their goal is to get donations and everything, they probably want to look clean and safe all the way through, no matter what. So you're gonna work your way towards that in every way, I think.
Yep, I would agree on that.
I like their prices, though. It's cheaper than what I've looked at for a while. A
Did
multiple
that cover it,
domain one
Jamie?
is only $39. Cool.
Did that cover everything for you, Jamie, on that end?
Yeah, okay, so real quick, and maybe you know this. So it says multiple domains, and then the one next to it, the $55 one says unlimited subdomains.
Okay, I'll get into
What's
this.
the difference?
Yeah, let me
Okay.
go ahead and cover this real quick. So this one here, and I'm using Globe SSL as just the example here, but most of them are kind of about the same. So you got your free $0 one here. That's a 1 month trial, and it's an automated SSL certificate. So it's going to only have a 1 month expiration. It's automated, and it comes with no insurance. I mean, you can see here. But the big things you want to look for when trying to decide with one are, again, this the SSL type, obviously, your warranty, your encryption strength should be good.
Yeah, that should always be pretty much the same across the board, the strength of
So
encryption.
that encryption strength, that's pretty standard right there, since
Yeah.
it's using. Okay.
Uh-huh. And there's another one. I'll try to find it here in a few minutes. Another indicator, but they're all the same on this. So on this one, so it's like a 2048 or something. It's another encryption section, but.
I
Um,
like that. I like that line, free reissues, which is probably we're not going to charge you a fee for reissue, but you're going to pay though.
Okay, so this free reissues is actually pretty important, and what this is actually saying is if your SSL certificate is compromised,
Oh, okay.
we're not going to charge you to reissue it.
I see. Oh, that's nice then. Okay.
Okay, so and now I kind of want to get into this a little bit because this is kind of like shared hosting. Okay, so this $5 one, it's going to be like a shared SSL. It's not going to affect your website performance, and it's probably going to be perfectly good for anything you need. The advantage here is just like maybe using an open source platform. If somebody else's certificates gets compromised, you're going to know about it when the first compromise happens, as opposed to waiting until your website is attacked with that same compromised ticket or your stuff attacked as well. So it's got its pros and cons, and this would be more like the self-hosting type deal where you're getting that more privacy and more specific certificate. But so the $5 one here is it's an automatic generated, already existing SSL certificate. It's already approved and it's already at a SSL certifying authority. You're just getting the code to implement into your site and an expiration date, basically. It's for single domain. The issuance is 2 to 3 minutes. I'd say expect this your first time to spend half an hour probably trying to set this up, and maybe more if you've got to go back and change all those HTTPs to HTTPSs on your media. But again, the warranty, I don't know how big you're going to have to worry about, but that's probably a very real consideration. And think about it, how long is this thing going to be compromised before somebody figures it out and you get reissued that new certificate? It really amounts to how much traffic is going to be passing through your website. If you're Amazon, you want that 1 million for sure. But a website that does 5 orders a day for $50, what's that, $250 a day. It might, even if it takes 3 to 4 days before somebody finds out that this SSL certificate's been crushed, they're going to be well under that $10,000 limit.
Oh, you know what? That makes a lot of sense now. I wasn't getting what you were saying earlier, but now I do.
Right. So yeah, I mean, it's probably not going to be very long before somebody realizes that certificate's been crushed, and these bigger, yeah, it's the amount of traffic that's coming through that needs to be considered there. So this $39 one for multiple domains, basically, if you've got a web multi-site or basically, yeah, if you've got a business that has multiple domains, it's going to be starting at $39, and I think, if I remember right, additional domains are like $5 a piece or $3.
I think so. Yeah, I've seen them that way too. It
Yeah.
could work out well for somebody who hosts like client websites, though. I mean, you could take
Right.
care of the certificate and just flip out the new one at $5 a pop when needed.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what I did with it, but when I was looking into this, I realized I came to me. I was like, I was going to have to do maybe 6 or 8 to break even on it and make it valuable. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was just 39 for all websites, but you've still got to go through the process. And unless I've got 6 to 8 clients ready to do it at one time, it just doesn't make any sense to me. The $55 one. So this is what's called the wild card, and this is, like it says, unlimited subdomains. So this one is yourdomain.com with all the subdomains. So I don't know, it seems pretty self-explanatory, but yes, it will cover subdomains. And what I don't recall is if you have to pay an additional fee for subdomains or if this automatically includes all subdomains. Do you know, Jared?
I don't think, I know you're covered. The difference, I think, is that the one for just regular domain, it's going to be, and I think it makes a difference if it's going to be www.domain name versus just domain name. You got to pick. But the
Okay, now
subdomain one, I think you can, anything you invent tomorrow, bluedog.yourdomain is going to be covered, right?
Now, here, one of the reasons I do like Globe SSL is they do cover it for both the www and non-www version. So that is,
yeah, that's an old itch there. So good, somebody took care of it and does it right then.
yep. So unlimited subdomains, and then this is your bigger one. So we talked about this extended validation, Jamie, and what they're going to do is they're going to check your business records. They're going to call and confirm that you got that business. Your business is registered. You're legally legally registered and whatnot. And that's, like I said, it's kind of like the BBB version of.
Yeah, they certify you basically.
Right, and they do go through the process of calling and checking on your. I don't know. I've never been through the process, but if I recall right, they check on like your legal certification. They need tax information and all that detailed stuff for the $90 a year. And I did see somebody else. I think that other place you were looking at was $247 for 3 years, so it would be a little bit cheaper than here.
Yep.
That's what that extended validation does. And in here you get the green bar. That green bar is nothing more than this green bar that kind of standardizes things across browser platforms. So if I were to open the same one up in Firefox, it would probably look pretty similar in Safari.
Yeah.
Right. But as far as security, that green box doesn't affect anything. The extended validation, again, they give you that fancy green box as an upsell, but the extended validation is really, you're paying that extra fee because they're digging into you and giving you a private certificate that's specific for your company, and that they've confirmed you're legally and you are who you are, you're legal, and all that nonsense.
It can help with donations and all if it's well explained and this is really us. You can trust this site. That might be very important.
Yeah, I don't know how necessary it is. I think if they were like dealing with larger donations, my biggest concern in this situation would honestly be the warranty. That would be my number one concern. How do I need to
it's insurance, yeah, it's good.
how high do I need to be? Because really, as far as security is concerned, everything else is the same. I mean, it's still the same process of encryption and then contacting the certifying authority to confirm, because each browser has its own list of certified certificates, and you can open your certificates. I'm not going to do it right here just because I don't want to mess with that stuff, but you can check each browser's certificates, and you might be able to get a browser on Safari or get to a website on Safari, and Safari has it, listed in their certificates, whereas Google Chrome may not, and they're just not connecting and talking with the same certificate authority. But these are, for the most part, any legitimate company, because these guys are using Komodo, I believe.
But there's only a few underneath it all, I guess, that act
Right.
as the main repository for this, or the main manufacturers of those certificates.
Right. Oh, these guys have got theirs through somebody else, but I'm using them on this website, and it's got. Uh, I'm approved by Komodo, and Komodo and Apple and Microsoft all have their own approving authorities. So, yeah, there's only a handful that really deal with it, and all browsers, most main browsers, should be communicating with those leaders in that space.
Yep. And you get updates for that once in a while too.
Yep. Mostly they'll push updates when, so if they find out something's compromised, they'll immediately push an update. So does that make sense, Jamie?
Yep, definitely.
Let me throw this link in here. Oh, you've got this, but I'll throw it in there anyways. I can't think of anything else that really needs to be covered when you're shopping for these. I mean, click on
But
one. Sure.
then you get to the technical of implementing it on your website and depending on your host and all. So
Oh,
hopefully
yeah,
you
no,
have a good host and all. Yeah.
that's a great point. Let me just click on this real quick because I did want to see one thing. Maybe they've got it showing. Yeah, so this certificate is signed with the 2048-bit root, and that's the current encryption level for the roots as well. There's another. The old ones were 124, 1024. So that's just something to look at. I don't think it's going to be an issue at this point in time. Most everybody is on a 2048, but I would, if you do come across one that's still running or marketing at 1024, I'd probably stay clear of that.
Yeah, get the highest number of bits you can find.
Right.
Okay.
But you did bring up a really great point, Gerard, I wanted to discuss. For most people, if they don't have WHM access, I don't think that this can be done directly through cPanel. Do you know if it can, Gerard?
It's going to depend on the hoster. So if they're just using some regular cheap, like I don't know, SiteGround, for example, there's probably a place to do it manually in the panel. But most places have good service. You can go through their own text to do it for sure that it works well. Because
Okay, well,
it does affect the Apache config. So if it's not done right, then you not only did you mess up your website, or you may turn it on but not set it up right, and you want it confirmed if you don't know what you're doing.
well, I'll tell you, I checked through both my cPanel on HostGator and A2, and I did not see an option anywhere to add the certificates in my
Yeah,
cPanel. Now, in my WHM panel on
yeah.
A2, I do have the options, but I don't have WHM through HostGator. So I would say this is probably something most people would have to. I don't know what your status is on this, if you're managing the hosting or not, Jamie, but I think most people would have to go through their host if they don't have their own WHM control.
I typically host my own, but this is something else. So they
It's
have
already
a,
theirs.
it's a shared host, so
Oh,
Okay. Yeah,
I'll
then
have
you
to
probably
check.
just have to go through them. I don't, because I didn't see anything in the two cPanels that I use on a regular, well, semi-regular basis. I've tried to get away from HostGator as much as
well,
possible.
I've had it before through cPanels, and so basically there's a section where you gotta copy your keys, they prompt you for what they want, and it can be that easy, and it should be really, but
Well,
always good to check.
since you need a dedicated IP, maybe the option only appears if you have a dedicated IP. I don't know.
That's a good point. Maybe it is an option for most.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know.
don't.
I'll have to
Yeah,
ask.
you're absolutely right. That's probably why. Yeah, I used to always have when I used shared hosting, I would always pick a fixed IP anyway. So maybe that's why for me it just came as part of it all the time. But yeah, could be.
Huh. Well, then maybe I do have it in my A2 because I do have a dedicated IP there. But I didn't see it. Well, I just did a cursory look. I did dig around a little bit on HostGator.
Yeah, it's probably like an advanced config, an advanced feature somewhere where you don't see it every day.
Yeah.
And if you use like I host with DigitalOcean and Server Pilot, which is an awesome combination. If you're going to implement SSL, then you have to it's an added feature. You have to start paying for Server Pilot for that added level of management for stuff.
Huh.
But I'm sure it's worth it too.
Yeah. Well, what else have we got? Anything else that any unanswered questions, Jamie?
Okay, yes. And this is probably a basic question, but I just want to make sure I do it right. So, assuming I go through the process, I add my certificate. Do I need? I've seen people use that WordPress plugin, that HTTPS something.
To
Do
force
I?
it.
Right? Do I need that? Should I need that?
I mean, that's a plugin that if I'm thinking the same one, it just does a transfer, transfers all your media from and all your pages from HTTP to HTTPS. And I would use it. It would just definitely save you some time as having to go through and manually change everything.
Yeah, well, I can tell you from my experience, you have basically two options if you're in full control of your own website. Use that plugin and breathe free and go for a walk and have fun, or deal with htaccess yourself and make sure that you correctly encode all the different strings that you want to make sure cover all your website. The force HTTPS works really well. That's the one I usually have people use, and it does it. Whatever page you want, if it's not HTTPS, it forces, it redirects right away to it.
I
So
have had a few. The last time I used it, I did have a few images that I had to go in and manually change. Actually, I just deleted them and threw them back on. Downloaded them,
oh, yeah.
them off WordPress, threw them back on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess they were through another file structure or something. I'm not sure why they didn't transfer, but it was like 2 or 3 images. Um,
But there's a few of those plugins omit. I think there was one that was kind of weird, but there's another one that is flawless. But um, but yeah, it's to be determined. Always look at the reviews and the number of installations and everything, of course.
yeah, mine was good. It just was not. It had a couple little images that I found later on down the line that needed to be updated, and that was it. But yeah, I'd recommend using one of those plugins.
It's less hassle, unless you are already a whiz at HT access and you really want to be in charge of those little nuts and bolts. Then fine.
I'm just looking at the cPanel I have to see if there's anything about it on here.
Who's the host?
This site is SiteGround. Um,
SiteGround is good. It'll be there at least as an added feature, if not in the package you have. But I can't imagine even the 395. I'm pretty sure will allow you SSL if you want to. You'll pay an extra $1 for the IP or something.
I
yeah,
think that they might restrict that access though to somebody who doesn't see. I think that's the issue. They don't want to give that access because you can screw up a site, and then they've got to go in and, maybe not you, but the shared brand new shared user who's trying to learn this stuff might go in there and screw something up if they had access to this stuff. So I
And
think,
also, if they sell their own certificates, they kind of want you to ask about it, and then they point you to here's our certificates, and
yeah,
otherwise
yeah, and
it's too easy.
they charge $82 per year for their standard SSL
Yeah, yeah.
certificate.
But they walk your certificate regularly. They take it out for walks, and they're very good with service.
yeah, but I think that they would want to do that manually rather than uh, just hand that open over. But I've never heard any complaints about SiteGround. I've never used them, so
They're awesome. I've
It
known them
does.
for years now, and I've moved on since then. But now if somebody wants to host their own thing, that's my first choice. I send them there and never hear back from it about anything bad.
SiteGround's price, if you buy their certificate, it includes the dedicated IP and the free installation.
For the
yeah.
So that's why it's $82 per year.
Yeah, and there's stuff that's only for the first year free or something, and then there's gonna be something else, but probably that IP then. And yeah, there was something, but they might have changed too since then.
It looks like it's free every year,
And their
but maybe not.
service is so awesome though. So
It
that's
is.
why
Yep.
anybody that's already at SiteGround, I said, don't even worry about it. Just ask them, talk to them. They'll do it. They move your site there. They even when they're not even supposed to, they'll do it. Like they're awesome. They rock the service. And 24/7, right? I love when you go to a website and you can just start the little live chat and have a real person in no time versus putting in a ticket. And it can get to that if it's more advanced, but it's nicer if you can talk to somebody right now and let off steam and then thank you.
Yeah, I've had good experience with them. Oh, you have to purchase an external SSL installation via SiteGround. Okay. Let's see. I don't know how much that costs. I did not see it. Oh, here we go. Oh, it's free. It says $0. I'm confused.
It's as close to free as you can find, right?
Oh, okay. So here we go. If you do an external one, that's a one-time fee of $30, and then a dedicated IP costs $30 for 1 year.
There you go.
And that's just the install. That's not the actual SSL.
You still pay for your certificate because you're bringing it from elsewhere, so you have to keep
Yeah.
renewing. You renew it elsewhere.
Right.
I see.
It's like domain names, right? You probably can pre-buy it cheaper if you prepay it for 10 years or something. But mostly that's kind of the way it runs.
Yeah, I think there was a restriction put on the SSLs that the certificates will no longer last longer than 3 years.
Yeah, there is something like that. I think you're right.
I think they were doing 5 years, and then recently they cut it down to 3 years just for increased security reasons.
Yeah, just to re-verify you, especially the higher end ones, I guess.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so now I have to go to them and tell them that there's going to be an additional cost if we want to do this externally or have the host do it.
Yeah, so what's it boil down to? Like $65 the first year and then $35 a year after that, whereas, $85 I think you said for them to do it, for SiteGround to do it?
Yeah, so it's just $60 for the first year, and then it'll be $30
For the IP.
for the IP after that. It does not say anything else about any additional cost past the first year besides
Not at SiteGround, but the renewal of the certificate though is
right.
outside of that. Yeah.
Well, the renewal of the IP too.
Well,
So
that's $30 per year.
Right. Yep.
So instead of the $15 that I told them for 3 years, it will be $45 total. No, it'll be 60 plus 15. So it'll be $75 up front, and then we'll have to $30 for the next 2 years, and then when we want to renew the certificate, it will be another $45 if I'm calculating correct.
But hopefully that's not a big issue. I mean, technically that should be like 1 or 2 donations in the year to cover that. So
well, that's the thing. We've got it covered right now. I don't think it'll be an issue, but before I go through with it, I need to let them know that there's an additional cost.
Right.
Yep.
So, okay, cool. If I was doing it on my own, if I was hosting them myself, I could just do this all myself, but I can't, so it is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else that we need to cover? Because I appreciate it. Since I'm kind of a dummy on this, I've never done it before. I mean, I've done a private one, like a self-signed one. That's it.
Right.
But
No.
self-signed is the exact same thing, really, in the end, except that it's not certified by a high-up authority. So every time they get to your website and that's the certificate, they get prompted, hey, do you want to accept this? Hey, do you want to accept this? So that's the only difference.
Yep.
Well, and I only did it on a local site, so I could test somebody, like a customer's having trouble with Headway and SSL, and so I just did it so I could test, and so I didn't have to pay for the certificate.
Yeah.
So I didn't know how much of a difference the process would be.
Yeah. But in end results, same thing.
No, because whoever you buy the ticket from will have certified it with the certifying authority. So if you buy it from who do we have here, Globe SSL, they've already before they even give it to you, they'll have it certified with the certifying authority, and you can't do that if you're not a member of their little group.
Exactly.
So yeah, basically they're going to get a notification saying your certificate is not certified. It is still secured, but great if you're dealing with somebody who knows you personally, but otherwise everybody the average user on the web wants that certified certificate, and
Yeah, the message is going to lead them to worry, so you don't want that ever.
really at $5 a year, it's hard not to justify that.
Yeah. And depending, even at 500 a year, it's going to be worth it in the end, depending.
Right. And that's what, if it brings in more donations because people feel secure donating online, it's going to be worth it in the end. And the only way, there's one donation that's sitting out there right now that will donate to us tonight if they can do it online via credit card in a secure way. So,
There you go.
that donation is going to pay for it for the first year at least.
Well, I know I won't. I don't. I check all that certified. I won't put my credit card information on a non-certified site. So, I mean,
Smart.
we've been through that one once, I think, Jamie.
Yeah, yes, we have. And I've had my credit card, well, not mine recently, but my husband's. We did made a mistake of entering it on a non-certified site for some parts he wanted, and yeah, that was dumb.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you didn't have any problems, though. You just.
Oh, no, we did. His
Oh, you
credit card.
did?
Oh, yeah, some guy from Michigan or somebody used his card, and the bank got alerted us right away, but it was still a mess.
It's amazing how quickly it can go. When I moved to Montreal, got a new bank account here with a bank here and all, and it wasn't chipped. Oh my God, like every week I would have my card locked out because I used it somewhere that was suspected of skimming, and so they lock it out. You call them up and they wanted to exchange my card. Eventually I just got one with a chip and be done. It's same kind of thing basically. More physical than virtual.
Yep.
So that was good. We should do hangouts more often. We should have tons of people.
So you good on everything, Jamie? You don't have any more questions?
I am good, and if I do have any more questions, that will be once I'm actually trying to install it. So
We'll
just
do that
beware.
live as well. Yay!
That would be funny, something to do live. Have me try to do it live, having never done it. Well, I've done it once before.
Yeah, come on, crowd. Let's figure out a password. What should we use?
Here's my private key. Please do not copy this down from my video feed.
Yeah. Good.
But hopefully, well, maybe not the next live thing, but hopefully there'll be some sort of videos or screencast to preview 4.0 sometime in the near future.
Yes.
I'll have to check with Clay and see where we're at. I've been testing different layouts, trying to break the new grid render so Clay can fix it so it's not broken once beta comes out. So we'll just have to see where we're at. We're hoping
smell the beta.
We're hoping soon, but we do want to make sure it's a beta, not an alpha that we release. So
yeah. I recently started seeing more and more people use Crowdcast for their demonstration. So it uses a Google Hangout for the video part, but the rest of the interface is Crowdcast, and it's really awesomely done. It's really well done. You can interact much more during, and you can ask specific questions, and when they are answered by the presentator, they click the button for that question, and it marks it so that when you watch the video later, you can just go directly to exactly what you want. It's so nicely done and free. So we should look into that if we want to do some presentation next.
All right, well, I'm going to end the broadcast if we're done on the SSL. I mean, we can hang out and chat if you guys want to, but if we're done on SSL and HTTPS, you don't have any more questions, Jamie, I'm going to go ahead and kill the live feed.
sure, that's cool.
All right.